Welcome into the Tottenham Depot. I am your host, Andrew. You can follow me at Astetka. You can follow us at Tottenham Depot. This is episode 285, and believe it or not, it is still up in the air for Spurs as they did not get anything from Stamford Bridge, as some might have expected. Others were a little bit more hopeful, including this guy right here. But no, it's going to come down to the last day, and we're going to stress about it. We're going to talk about it. We're gonna have a little therapy about it. I've got Todd alongside. He is at TC_Kasho. TC, how you feeling, my friend?
Fuck.
That's about right. That is about right.
So there's just nothing good about football today, my friend.
No,
I don't really know how else to say it. Nothing good about
football.
Lost today. Football lost today.
It's been a little bit of a dark one. It is Tuesday evening, post Spurs going to Stamford Bridge and falling 2-1 in what was, of all the Premier League matches I've seen this season, that was certainly the most recent. Like, that's about all I can say about it, because it was not a good game of football. It was not a well officiated match of football, which we will come on to as well. But yeah, I before we hit the record button, I was just mentioning to you that I've kind of been through a roller coaster over these last 6 to 8 weeks under Roberto De Zerbi, because I feel like when he came on, I was not very hopeful that Spurs were staying up this season, and I've started to wane off of that a little bit and believe, and I even, like I said, had belief going into this game that Spurs could get something out of it to preserve the season. And after today, I have utterly no idea what is going to happen on the final day of the season. And that does one thing: it scares the living hell out of me.
Yeah. I mean, nobody likes uncertainty, especially around these things. Both of us had delusions, clearly, of grandeur, that we could go to a place that we've won once in 37 years and get out of there with the necessary points to keep our season alive. To be fair, we weren't particularly helped in that endeavor by the folks that were supposed to be officiating a fair and balanced game. But we didn't fucking help ourselves either, Rodrigo Bentancur. And we'll come on to that as well.
Well, let's get into it, because it was an unchanged 11 from the previous few matches. We've kind of seen this consistent team now. I think the only question, which I'm not even going to pose it as a question, because I know you and I have the same idea when it comes to this, but Guglielmo Vicario was fit for this match and was back on the bench.
Who the fuck are you talking about right now?
But it was still Anton Kinski. Obviously, you had no problem with that, and I don't think I did either. I mean, I know we can come on to the goal.
I've seen Vicario ship 4 goals against Chelsea. I didn't need to see it again.
Right, exactly. I mean, look, we could talk a little bit about the goal, the Enzo Fernandez goal, and his positioning on it. But I think he was
no. You can talk about that. His positioning was just fine. He got completely blocked off by Rodrigo Bentancur jumping across his field of vision, doing nothing to impact the flight of the ball, and then flat-footed, dealing with the ball spinning into your top corner, did the best that he could to dive in that general direction. He got completely hung out to dry by Bentancur on that play.
Bentancur was shocking in this match. I'm not sure
so bad.
how or why he stayed on the pitch for the full 90, but to be quite fair, Palhinha was not much better. I thought that Pedro Porro was getting absolutely roasted by Maresca, by Cucurella in the first half. He was
getting punched in the mouth and was not handling it particularly well, and they weren't calling anything. And so he got angry and he got petulant and he got taken out of his game, which can happen.
Well, part of the problem is that Porro was asked to get forward a lot and try to support, which he has not been having to do because the midfield's been so good for so many weeks, and they've been able to move the ball through the midfield properly.
Yeah, but when Porro went narrow and packed it in.
Right, and Porro was getting ahead of the ball, and the second there's a counterattack, he's chasing it, and that is not a position you want Pedro Porro in. You don't want him chasing the ball down the field. Mm-hmm. That's when bad things happen, and sure enough, we saw a lot of those bad things.
I think that both of those goals you could hang squarely on the shoulders of Rodrigo Bentancur. I truly believe that. The second one, there was a pass directly to him. He needed to take 2 quick steps to his left and go field the ball, and he went. Not only
that, he called for the ball.
Yes,
he called for the ball, and granted, it was not the greatest pass from Randall Colomwani.
It doesn't matter.
But which, by the way, I don't think you can expect the greatest of pass from Randall Colomwani. Randall Colomwani is also awful in this match.
Fucking
And
dross, dude. It was
but
so bad.
for Bentancur to be in the midfield in the position he was with acres of space around him, call for the ball and then watch it roll by him, I was utterly baffled. I said, well, that's going to be a goal. I mean, Chelsea picked it right up,
Same.
went right down the pitch and scored, and that was
And there was
that
nothing
was
you could do
2-0.
about that.
No,
There's nothing you can do about that.
That was 2-0. Well, there's nothing we can do about it. Rodrigo Bentancur should have been doing something about it, and that's
and
kind of the
truthfully, and the
problem I
way
have.
that goal got scored was like a double meg to get the ball into the back of the net. Anyway, it's just, dude, there's some sort of fucking hoodoo against that terrible stadium that just does not allow us to play good football there.
Well, and the kicker is Spurs actually produced way more than Chelsea did in this match. They had 1.72 XG. Yes, that's what I'm looking at.
No, but I was watching the fucking game and we looked clueless up front.
We looked clueless until we didn't. They definitely played much better in the second half and were producing and doing the right things. And granted, there were part of the problem is that there were so many chances that just weren't finished. Richarlison had multiple chances. The chance Maddison had late, I thought for sure was going to be it. Like, that was the one. There were too many opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net, and they only did it once.
How many times can we do the same fucking podcast?
Well, you're right. I mean, I feel like we have been doing it all season.
And I mean, and this is what we're talking about, is that it boils down to, and I was talking about this in the pub today, I was like, the issue is that you've got Tell, Colomwani, and Richarlison up front, and you're looking at about a 30% chance that if the ball comes into the box and they have a scoring opportunity, they put it away. And that's just not good enough, Andrew.
I think 30 is a high number.
I'm saying between the three of them, with all of the crosses and opportunities to come into the box and all the chances that they have and all the things, I'm saying you got about a 1 in 3 shot of them putting it on frame.
Which is not great. I mean, but honestly, it's not just XG in this game. You look at even the touches in the opposition box. 24 for Spurs, 11 for Chelsea. Like, they were getting there were four big chances for Spurs. 3 of them missed. Like, this is the stuff I'm talking about. Like, they actually went there and played the game that they were kind of supposed to play. And a combination of a lack of that killer instinct at the end and really, really shit officiating cost them anything from this match. And remember, they only needed a point. They needed 1 fucking point from this game. It's not like they had to go to the bridge and win. They just needed to get a draw, which they can do and have done.
And to be fair, I think now is an appropriate time to say they absolutely should have had the opportunity to equalize that game in the 85th minute when Cucurella decided to American football tackle Mickey Van de Ven into the goal while the ball was in the air.
Let's just get into it.
Shenanigans AAR looked at that for approximately 10.5 seconds and said, nope, it wasn't in the air.
No,
when clearly the ball was in the air.
It was in the air for certain. Yeah, man. Look, we're gonna see all the screenshots and we're gonna see all of the different video and you can say what you want, but like, the evidence is right there. And I just, when I watched this in the moment, I actually thought that a foul had been called against Spurs and Richarlison had been booked for his just exuberance, I guess. I don't know. But then when I'm watching it play out, I realized, oh no, he booked Cucurella. That's going to be a penalty for us. The ball was clearly in the air and Van de Ven gets tackled. And to realize that they weren't walking the ball to the spot, I was very confused watching this, and then realizing that they were just going to give the corner. I didn't really know, I don't carry
every other football fan in the world, Andrew, looked at that and goes, wait a second. Wait. You get a yellow card for a foul in the middle of the box during a corner kick and it's not a penalty?
Right. And like, I don't carry the laws. I don't carry the laws of football around with me, but we've come to understand that as long as the ball is in play, there's a penalty to be awarded. If the ball is not in play and there's a takedown like that and a yellow card, it's not a penalty, and that's fine. But the ball is clearly in the air, which means it is in play. It has been kicked when this foul is completed. And we can see, if you're watching us on YouTube, you see the response from the Premier League Match Center which they tweeted out today
And then
and
promptly
said,
turn off the comments.
and yes, and promptly turned off the comments. But they say the referee's call of no penalty was checked and confirmed by VAR, with it deemed that the action from Cucurella had ended before the ball was in play. That's just a blatant lie. Like, there's no
Yeah,
other way to put it. That's just a
yeah.
blatant falsehood that they have put out here as fact. And it's, it's the same shit that we saw. Like, look, we saw this in the Arsenal match yesterday where there was a clear red card that should have been called. We saw that. Frankly, we've seen it on, I'm not
I
even
don't even want to talk
exaggerating,
about them. I just want to
double
talk about us.
double digit occasions. Well, no, it's a double-edged sword here, because it's happened to us, it's happened to them, it's happened to other teams. The Spurs are the only team that have
Not the
not gotten
scum.
a penalty, and this was a penalty and it was not given. I don't
Well, you can
know.
just, it's a bookend to the penalty that we had last week. I brought it up on the last pod, but literally our last away penalty was taken by Harry Kane.
Yeah. Yeah. And James Madison
I'm,
earned that last week. Like, he
I
did.
know. And when we didn't get it then, Mickey Van de Ven earned it this week. We didn't get it then. And these are two instances. That is at least, Andrew, a 4-point swing. 3-point swing? 3-point swing.
It at least, well, it's enough of a swing that we would not be talking about Sunday this week. We
No.
would be just safe and happy and content with kicking this season into the bin and moving on to the next. But we can't do that yet, because there is still, of course, work that needs to be done. The other really just obvious one in this match for me is Jed Spence taking a direct elbow to the face, and it just being a yellow card. Just ho hum, like, let's go. That's an easy booking. It's an easy red. I don't understand. And he even tweeted out the video of it with just a bunch
And
of
he
laughing
laughed.
emojis,
Yeah.
which is, I think, the right response. It is just a complete and total joke. But that was it was Delap, right? Delap picks up the yellow,
Yeah.
and you can see, if you watch the build up to the actual elbow, you can see he's looking at Spence. He's not looking at the ball. He's
No,
looking
he's looking
directly at Jed
exactly
Spence,
where he's going.
and he looks directly at him and goes in with the elbow, knows exactly where his head is, and just throws his elbow at it. And I don't know how you see that, have that checked, and also just say, that's not an obvious mistake. No, it is an obvious mistake. And I feel like you've completely, like, I got your shipment of tinfoil and my hat is ready. I haven't entirely put it on, but it's right here on the side of the desk, and I'm ready to reach over for it at this point.
Mate, all I'm saying is I'm really looking forward to the documentary in about 15 years where all of this comes to light about how PGMOL completely fucked over certain teams utilizing VAR and completely cleared the path for other teams utilizing VAR to ensure that a new name was on the trophy in every 6-year period. I left the pub when they didn't give that penalty because I knew what the rest of the game was about. Like
Which is
I just knew in that moment that this was not our day.
Yeah, which is completely understandable as well, despite the fact that it was still they just needed a goal and they had every chance down the stretch. I think the fine margins is the part that I am still kind of trying to grasp with, from all of this, because I don't think we've seen the fine margins go all in one direction in this way over the course of an entirety of a season, but it really has gone that way, which to some extent says, like, in no way am
Or
I making excuses for Spurs, and in no way am I saying they don't, like, they haven't gotten their just desserts here for the way that they have not only performed on the pitch but off the pitch as well, in not strengthening the way that they should have when they realized that there was an issue. But it really does say something that it's taken all of these different things to go completely batshit crazy wrong for Spurs, and yet they still have the opportunity to save themselves with one more point on the final day. Like, it's taken this
technically we
much to
don't
push
even
them.
need hold on. Technically we don't even need another point per se.
Well, no, technically you don't need it, but then you're relying on someone else. If you get the point, you
Exactly.
don't need to rely on anyone else, which is
My
key.
perspective is the perspective that I've held ever since it became about 2 months ago when it became clear that we're in this relegation dogfight and we're not fucking going anywhere. Win the games in front of you. And for the first time today, I didn't feel like we showed up to win that game.
That's so interesting because I felt like the effort was there. I felt like the talent was not. And I felt like the midfield was the key to that because it's been so good over the last few weeks, and the ability to press the ball and give pressure to the opposition was there. And today that was not present.
Well, it wasn't present because of the way that Chelsea was playing. They gave us the ball and said, we're going to sit in, figure it out. And we just didn't have the quality, Andrew, to do anything with those opportunities, to your point.
Uh, until James Madison came on the pitch, and then
Well,
all
no,
of a
until
sudden,
James Madison came on the pitch. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, wait a second, having a creative spark completely changes the way that you can play. But to be fair, that doesn't make Kolo Muani any better at doing his job. That doesn't make Matthias Tell any better at making decisions when you've got numbers in the box and you try to splash it into the fucking side netting instead of squaring it across the box to the two open teammates that you have. Like, I just, there were so many things about this match where I looked at it and I was like, all you had to do is show up and give a good account of yourself, and you didn't do that. And then when you leave it in the lurch like that, when you're Bentancur and you don't close out on Enzo and he buries one, and when you're Bentancur and you leave a lazy ass pass and it gets, slotted home with numbers, that's not the effort that you ask for a team if you're actually trying to stave off relegation in a fight like this. Now we have to go home. We have to play an Everton team that would love to send us down, and we have to get something. And I don't. We're white knuckling it. Is where we're at right now, Andrew. We are absolutely white knuckling it. We can't change shit. We're not all of a sudden going to sign a more capable striker between now and the game against Everton. We're there, we're not all of a sudden going to, James Madison's fitness isn't going to improve so drastically that we can play him more minutes in that last game of the season. Like, we're still on borrowed time with that guy, which means we need to kind of figure it out along the way. We looked organized at the back. We looked like we had a game plan. And especially in that first half, I felt like we held on to the ball well, but we didn't. The chances that we had were few and far between, and the opportunities that we got, we wasted them. There was a Richarlison header that if the goal was 5 times bigger than it was, it wouldn't have gone in.
yep.
And I was just like, there was the clear cut chance. It's on your head. This is what you do. Just put it in the fucking net. And he shanked it. And at
To
that
be fair,
moment,
he was also offside on that try, but he did not even put it close to frame.
and I guess that was kind of the thing for me is whether you were offside or not, I don't give a shit. Bury it.
Yeah, bury it. Absolutely. Make them go
So,
back and reverse it. Absolutely.
and he
100%.
got his goal today.
Yeah.
But I'm so sick of Richarlison scoring goals and losing efforts. I'm so sick of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't blame Richarlison for that as much as I just blame everyone else around him, because at least he's scoring goals when called upon. Not always, obviously, but and
They're
not
not
often
clutch
enough.
Goals. They're not pressure goals. They're garbage time goals. They're
Every
get
goal
you
at this
within
point
one
is
goals.
a pressure time goal, because the pressure's been on for months.
I mean, whatever. It's
That
not really about goals to me. It's just about getting across the line.
Yep. That was the first home victory for Chelsea since January, which is also, like, that's the part of this too that just kind of sticks in my craw, is the fact that Chelsea are not good. Like, that is not a good football team. And part of that, they talked about on the broadcast, like, part of that is the fact that they've been playing 18 straight months of football between all the bullshit Conference League, bullshit FIFA World Cup, all the stuff that they've been involved in. They've been playing a lot of football. Fair enough. They've gone way downhill, and Spurs should have had something from that one today. Let's look ahead a little bit, because obviously it all comes down to Sunday. For the context, Spurs, of course, will host Everton, who have not won a Premier League match since March 21st. And West Ham, of course, will host Leeds, who have not lost a Premier League match since March 3rd. Just wanted to throw that out there and put the true context on it where it needs to be.
We have
Because
a pretty good record against Everton, Andrew. We play pretty well against them at home as well. I like Everton as a franchise. I like Everton fans. There's a bit of a kindred spirit thing. with us and them. But we haven't won football games at home, so I'm not confident.
What did I say last week? The thing that's scaring me the most is the fact that Spurs have to play two games. They have two games left. One of them is a place where they have struggled to win all like for eons, and the other one is Stamford Bridge. Like that's
Yeah.
that's where we are. Spurs do have to actually go get a result at home, and I'm not going to continue to not say win, because literally they just need that point to push the gap to 3 over West Ham at this point, because the goal difference will take care of itself. Part of the reason that this confluence of events has to happen for Spurs to actually go down means that their predicted percentage for relegation is still quite low. They are sitting only at 13.33% chance to get relegated, leaving West Ham with the other 86.67%. So again, that's those are numbers. Those are just predictive measures. They're not going to, tuck you in at night and make you feel comfy. Like that's not what they're about. I just wanted to present that because like there is a confluence of events that has to happen here, and Spurs do have it in their court and can just do it with a draw. A draw alone will get the job done. And West Ham need all 3 points at home. So it is going to take a lot, but I'm still, like I said, going into Sunday, I'm going to need to take something like medically. I think honestly, I'm going to need to take some like calm down juice, because I'm
Well,
freaking out, man.
it's 8 o'clock on the West Coast. You are freaking out, man. I It's 8 o'clock match on the West Coast. It's quote unquote Super Sunday with these fucking parasites, and so every game is kicking off at 8, and so you'll be able to flip back and forth or watch it in real time. At least you won't
I
have to
will
sit around
I
and
will
wait.
have I will have Spurs on the big TV, and I will have the West Ham matchup on my iPad. That's the way I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I think I don't
And
know.
it's
This
obviously
is
the
going to be
only
a tough
things
one.
those are the only things to be decided that we care about, because other things have already been decided. I guess there's still some European places to be played for throughout the season, but none of it really
Yeah, we
matters
don't really
to
care
me.
about that.
I don't really give a damn. So, are you confident at all that this is actually going to happen? That they're going to get the job done, or are you in
Oh,
a
we're
similar
staying
place to
up. I've
me?
been saying we're staying up the entire time. It's just a matter of how much fucking suffering we have to go through before we stay up. West Ham
You
is
don't think it's
dog
been enough
shit.
suffering yet? It's not. It hasn't been enough suffering.
Like I said, Andrew, I left the pub when I saw that they weren't going to give that obvious penalty today because I realized that it doesn't really matter unless we're, like I told you on the last pod, unless we're 2 or 3 goals up at the half. Like it's kind of the cards are written that we're not going to get any lucky breaks down the stretch. So
No.
we just are where we are. Like I said, my only hope is that we're up a handful, a handful of goals early on Everton, so that we don't have to stress about it.
As you alluded to at the top of the table, the Bournemouth draw today against City does clinch the title, and I can't help but just think about the fact that City are now 4 points behind first place with one match to play, which obviously is what clinched the title, and that's the exact number of points that Spurs took from City this season. Which is really, really wild. Obviously, if we didn't have those 4 points, we would be 2 down going into Sunday, trying to stave off relegation. I know we can't butterfly effect all of this in that way, but it's just a really wild bit of context to put around the season that is obviously not yet complete.
Yeah, I this entire Premier League season has been an embarrassment from top to bottom. From the interview of the head of the league at the beginning, stating that they have a plan in place to put a new name on the trophy in every 6 year period, just basically saying, "Hey, when was the last time somebody new won this thing? Maybe we should do something about that." To have that scummy lot down the road go through an entire season without getting a red card, despite being the dirtiest team in the league, and not giving away a penalty despite being the dirtiest team in the league. It goes a long way to disenfranchise a lot of neutral fans, let alone us Spurs fans that know how fucking rubbish their football is, and the fact that they've only had 38 goals in the entire season that have come from open play. Everything else is a fucking set piece or a penalty. Like it's 40% of their goals, Andrew, came from set pieces. Like it's just
Yep.
it's it's terrorism football is the way that it's been purported, and I just want to look at I just want to look at every single member of the PGMOL and say, well, I hope you're happy. I hope you received whatever signing bonus that you were told that you would receive if this was the outcome that you were able to deliver. I'd like to say congratulations. I hope you get cute little keychains or something to commemorate this incredible moment for posterity. You fucking cowards. Go ahead.
I think that about sums it up. This season has sucked. I want to, before we kind of move on to other things, I want to just touch on this stat that I saw from Sky, because I do think that this underlines the point of what I was talking about a little bit earlier when it comes to the hope that I've felt over the last 6 or so weeks since De Zerbi has come in. This team has obviously played better on the pitch. And there's proof of that here, where you see the per game ranks before De Zerbi and under De Zerbi for Spurs. Goals conceded, they've gone from 17th to 5th. XG against, and this is, I know people scoff at XG, but you can even just look at errors leading to shots. We're talking about going from 17th to 1st in XG against, and from 20th to 9th in errors leading to shots. Everything is improving under De Zerbi is the grand point. He's getting this, and what it really makes me think is, man, Thomas Frank should be in jail. Like, first of all, like
Yep.
there's no way around it. Thomas Frank absolutely and utterly failed, and if he finds another job somewhere in England, that team should be shunned and scoffed at, because that's really saying something. I don't know how he did what he did at Brentford that long, coaching
Because
as poorly as he
the
did for
system is
Spurs.
that good. The system is that good. And honestly, man, the telltale sign for me as I think about it in the retrospect, none of his players, none of his players moved with him.
Yeah,
That'll tell you
yeah.
everything you want to know, because I want you to think about all of the other times that you've had a manager that has gone from that kind of mid tier level team to one of those big six clubs. They always bring some of their best talent. Always. Even when Poch came here, he brought Toby, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you look at, and he wanted to get Sadio Mane, but Levy wouldn't spend. Anyway, I'm just saying, like, Ange wanted Brennan Johnson. Say what you want to say about Brennan Johnson. Ange utilized him the best of his abilities. Like, nobody came with Thomas Frank. And the fact that you haven't heard his name grumbled one time in the media for any open positions, I think says a lot. It wouldn't surprise me if that guy needs to go back to the continent.
It's really weird how much the media carried his water while he was at Spurs, and they've just done nothing of the sort since he's left. It's very
I
strange.
think it's because he's an Arsenal fan, but that's a different conversation.
How do you know
Honestly,
that?
brother,
Is there any photographic evidence of that, or
yeah, I'll never forgive him. I'll never forgive him. I'll
it's
never ever forgive him for that.
it's really not good.
Oh, look, man, as you're talking about De Zerbi, we all had our well-founded reservations about him coming in, and his past is his past, and that's not going to change. But what I can say, and what I said last week, is that he's got the team on side. Whatever that means to you,
Yeah,
he's got the team on side. Um, I think without Kudus and Solanke and a fully healthy James Madison and
Odebear and
he's done the best
Romero,
he
and
can
yeah,
with what he's got. And the reason why we're running fucking Tell and Richarlison and Kolomwani out there is because that's all we have.
that's all we have.
Right?
Yep.
That's all we got.
I
The
I
cupboard is bare. And so
I
when
will
you look
say
at how bare the cupboard is and what the turnaround looks like on the stats that you just showed, like you can't speak highly enough about the job that he's done on the pitch, in the kit room, in the media, with the fan base. Like I've been very impressed with the way that he's carried himself in this situation. Deserving.
we'll see. It's going to come down to Sunday, obviously. Any before we move on to other things, what else you want to say about Sunday? I mean, obviously, we're gonna grit and bear it, but you got any other shots you need to get off before we move on?
No, Nope. I don't know how we're gonna get it done. It's kind of similar to how I felt going into Bilbao because I didn't know how we were gonna win that match. I just knew we were going to win that match, and it
Yeah.
wasn't pretty. It was arguably one of the worst games of football you'd ever want to watch in your life, and we won 1-0. And Andrew, if we have that exact same performance on Sunday, I'll be over the moon. I won't even care.
I'll take a 0-0 Sunday. That'd be fine too.
There you
I
go.
don't even care. It's weird. I felt the same exact way about Bilbao. I felt however it's going to get done, they're probably going to win this match. I did feel pretty confident going in, and I have absolutely none of that confidence going into Sunday. I will have, and that's not to say that I don't think they can do it or will do it. I just don't have the confidence. Um, I'm gonna be a wreck. Just whatever you want to, whatever your prayers, thoughts, whatever you want to send to my way. Feel free to do it, as we will
Booze.
to the listeners as well. Um, real quick, I wanted to touch on this before we move on partially because there's implications either way Sunday goes for who Spurs will be facing next season. But what did you think of Southampton getting booted from the EFL final this
Well,
Saturday?
listen,
That's that's really something.
they admitted to spying on like Borough and Ipswich and one other Oxford or somebody, one other squad.
Didn't win any of those matches,
Nope, nope, that's
which
kind
is
of
wild.
important. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. It's not surprising to me. I'm pretty sure this is probably something that's been going on a lot longer than anybody cares to admit, and they just got caught up.
Uh, I'm 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 in agreement, and it's the right move. The only thing I'm a little bit surprised at is that they're not just, well, I am and I'm not. I know why they're not just going to promote Hull City, and they're going to force them to play a game against Middlesbrough now, because they have to play that game. It's a moneymaker. Like it's
Hmm.
the answer to your question is always money. You're going to follow the money, so that's why they're
Hmm.
doing it. But I feel like the right decision would have just been to promote Hull City at this point.
You're
I don't.
probably right, but I
You're
mean,
you're
they
you're
got
you're giving you're giving Middlesbrough another crack at it, and I just don't know that that is fair and just.
you had to figure out a way to drum up ticket sales for that match,
And
and
I'm sure they will
that
have done that.
absolutely did. That absolutely did. So I don't know, mate. I'm trying real hard not to even think about the championship right now. If we're keeping it under,
I,
like I don't
I
want
hear
to.
you. I hear you. It is always a very fun match to watch. That's of course this Saturday, but the day before the final Premier
Yeah,
League day. Before we get out of here, I do want to end on, like, let's just end on the positivity, and then we will reconvene after Sunday and see what happens. But Spurs Women did wrap up their
yeah.
season this past weekend with a really cool and fun and exciting 2-1 victory away to Brighton. The winner scored by Toka Koga, who we're going to come on to a little bit more here, but just an absolute dart from just inside the midway circle as there was an interception, a little bit of a scramble. Keeper was out, and Koga just floated it into the right side of the goal from deep for the winner. Olivia Holt also scored in this match, but a 2-1 win for Spurs, a come from behind victory, and they capped the season in just a delightful way. They obviously, it was already the highest points total in a WSL season at 33. They bump it up to 36. They do finish the season in fifth place, just 4 points behind Manchester United. And I'm delighted at the direction of this club, quite obviously. And I think that if you watched on Saturday, the reason that I'm actually most excited about this team, there's one name, and it's Senia Gopset. She
She was
was
so good, dude. She was so good.
remarkable in this game,
Yeah.
just pulling all the strings, and can play in that deeper midfield role, but can also get up in the attacking roles and do really, really brilliant things. I am so excited to watch her develop under Martin Ho and see what she can produce for this team from the midfield going into next season. I think that there's still a lot of holes on this club that need fixing, and I'm going to point to the striker position right off the bat. We've
Yep.
talked about it over the
Yep.
last
Yep.
few
Yep.
weeks, but Beth England is departing, and I think Tinka Tanberg can be a good player going forward, but she is not there yet. There is a
Nope.
lot of help needed with the finishing, with body control. Just a lot of polishing needs to be done with Tinka Tanberg, and I think she's still kind of learning because of her size, I think she's still learning how to maneuver herself in this league and how to get into the right positions for the
Well, it's
shots that she
also Martin
wants.
Ho's system. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, I think she's taken some time to get into that. A traditional target individual, obviously, and like so we're seeing a learning curve. I do want to shout out Julie Blackstad, who I thought was incredible at that
Very
left
good.
back position.
And that's another
Had a
one,
great
another
match.
one that they brought in January, where it's like,
Yeah,
oh, that's how you show initiative. You get them in for this half a season, and then you can go from there. Like I think they always knew that next season is the season that they're really going to want to start to push for a Champions
hmm
League position. So getting those players in January to play half the season with the club, and now have the summer to build into next season, I think was a really really smart piece of multiple pieces of business from this club.
I absolutely agree. I think that on the women's side, if you can bring in one marquee signing this summer and then shore up the reserves, I think that's going to go a long way based off of what the decisions that you've made in the past, 18 months, for lack of a better term. On the men's side, however, I think that you're going to need at least two marquee signings. Regardless, both the men's and the women's team need an upgrade at the striker position. And
For
so
sure.
I here's hoping that that's where we make our splashes.
I really do hope so. Just to double back on Tokokoga, um,
Uh-huh.
we did mention Olivia Holt was a finalist for Player of the Season last week. She of course got another goal and just capped a really really good season. Tokokoga this week has been named to the WSL Team of the Season, which
Clap
is
to her.
also remarkable. A 20-year-old coming in her first season with the club and has just been a shining star. And obviously
She's been nails.
it doesn't come down to the goal she scored on Saturday. Like that was only her second goal of the season, and she's a center back. But she has just been nails and has really formed quite the partnership with, she really was partnering well with Claire Hunt before her
Well,
injury.
yeah,
And then the combination of players that have been thrown in there since,
her and
including
Amanda Nilden have actually
Amanda
done really well.
Nilden. Right, they've seemed to go about things in the right way as well. So Koga is only the second player to be named to the WSL Team of the Season for Spurs. The first one, however, was Grace Clinton back in 23-24, and she was a lone player, of course, if you remember, from Manchester United. So this is the first Spurs player, non-lone player, to be named to the WSL Team of the Season. So big shouts to Toko Koga for that. And then the other little bit of news from last week, which I thought was interesting, Olga Atanen has re-signed with Spurs. The 28-year-old midfielder is coming off a season in which she got going and then had that knee injury, which has kept her out for a few months. I really think that she is going to be a piece that is like just someone who can come in and do a job in multiple positions for Martin Ho
Yeah,
going forward. She's
it's
not going to
depth.
be she's not going to be an every week member of the starting 11. She's not going to be a superstar, but she brings something to this club that I think is good. I will say initially when this announcement was made that she was resigning, it took me by surprise somewhat, just because I thought that she would have been lost in the reshuffle of players that we're kind of seeing slowly happen with this club. But I'm not against bringing her back in any way, because I do think she can be a piece and a member of the squad who can really contribute good things.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think again, you need those glue pieces, right? The people that you can just kind of toss in there to eat some minutes, and then you can trust them to do a job. So
Yeah.
nothing
I
wrong with
mean,
that.
I think the cool thing that we've seen in the transition from Robert Villahem to Martin Ho, especially when it comes to Olga Atanen, is the fact that she she moves around a lot more under Martin Ho. She was a little bit more static in Villahem's system, whereas Martin Ho is putting her in more attacking positions even when she's on the pitch, which I think benefits her game as well. So just again, big ups to the team. I think this was dare I say, an A- of a season. I'll give it a B+ of a season, because, the goals are still out there to be accomplished. But quite honestly, I don't think this season could have gone much better for everything that was thrown at them as well, injury wise. Like there are still a lot of players missing from this team that are big contributors. Jess Naz being the one that sticks out the most. So a lot of adversity faced from an injury standpoint there as well, but they still were able to finish fifth and put up their best ever season in the WSL. So I'm excited by what's to come and really satisfied by what they gave us this year.
Same. It's hard to look at where we are at the end of this season as opposed to where we were at the end of last season and not just feel completely refreshed and energized for the upcoming year for Martin Ho and the squad. So looking forward to it, Andrew. I think that there's going to be big waves on the women's side this summer.
Well, that's probably the last bit of positivity we're going to get, at least until at least for a little while, because we'll see what's coming in the next podcast. It's either going to be a deep sigh of relief or deep dread, in which we are going to really have to start talking about
Don't even bring it up.
what's next. Just what's next. Like that'll be the discussion. That'll be what it's all about. That is going to do it for this episode of the Tottenham Depot. Be sure to check out the episodes on our YouTube page. YouTube.com/Tottenham Depot is where you can find us. Leave us a rating and review on the YouTube page. Leave us a rating and review on your podcast app of choice to help spread the word about the show. You can follow us also on the socials at Tottenham Depot. You can follow Todd at TC_show. You can follow me at A Stetka. This has been the Tottenham Depot podcast. As always, come on, you Spurs.